Welcome in on this Tuesday. Great to have you with us here on 5 Clubs Golf Channel. Also PGA Tour Radio, that's channel 92 on Sirius XM. I'm Gary Williams. This program is brought to you by Century Insurance. If you've got business insurance needs, that's their business, and they are great at it. They are right by you, and they invest in golf in great ways with the USGA and the first tee just to begin with. Golf Pride, when it comes to grips, I had somebody, a great guy who covers the game of golf, John Patrick down there in Augusta, Georgia, reached out to me yesterday and say, do you really like that reverse taper putter grip? Absolutely. Best grip I've had on my putter, not to mention all the options through the bag. Speaking of through the bag, whatever your needs are when it comes to apparel, on the course, off the course, it is Peter Millar for me and has been for 15 years. They're getting ready to celebrate 25 years of leading the industry when it comes to having you covered all the way through your lifestyle when it comes to clothing. And of course, the cradle of American golf, it is Pinehurst, the Pinehurst Resort. A little touch in the air in the Carolinas of fall. I can't wait to get back down there because anytime I go there, it seems like they have something else for me and you when it comes to on course or off course. All right, big hour for us. Rich Lerner, long, lean Richie Lerner, going to join us fresh from being at the Tour Championship alongside Brandel Chambly, doing all the studio on-set stuff on site. His perspective on the eve of Keegan Bradley making those selections, of which we're going to dive into here momentarily. He's going to join me at the bottom of the hour. We also have a really neat feature on a very special place, and it's a place that we were at the beginning of June, the week before the U.S. Open, Congaree Golf Club, and what they do and what they're doing to impact people, young people, in the game of golf and through golf is special. And we're looking forward to sharing that with you coming up in about 15 minutes. I will say last night I'm watching a little U.S. Open tennis, watching Carlos Alcaraz after going basically, it was almost like they were doing a remake of Stripes, and he had joined along with John Winger, and he got his head shaved. He looked like a very lean John Candy. And he's out there playing last night, and when his match concluded, what did he do? He did a little homage to a guy who was up there at the suite level, Rory McIlroy. And I have seen Carlos Alcaraz swing a golf club. He was here in Charlotte for an event that Andy Roddick was involved with. So he was over at the In-Town Club hitting shots in a simulator. Like, he's got a very, very competent golf swing. Golf is on a really neat cultural heater right now with the likes of LeBron James, and we know that Patrick Mahomes loves the game. And last night there's Carlos Alcaraz after his opening round match doing a little Johnny Carson to Rory McIlroy, who loved that. Rory taking in some night tennis for the second night in a row. That is nice to see. We sit right now, as I said, on the eve of these Ryder Cup selections. And Keegan Bradley is going to announce them tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 o'clock local, where he's going to be at PGA Frisco, the home of the PGA of America. And he's going to roll out these names. And before we get to what I think we're going to see, and a lot of people, whoever it might be, whether it be on the radio side, on Sirius XM, listening to all the guys, and that great lineup throughout the day, a lot of the aftermath of the Tour Championship beyond Tommy Fleetwood was, okay, what does this all mean as it relates to Keegan Bradley? One other note, next Monday will be Luke Donald making his selections off of the Omega Masters, which is in Switzerland, which I think next year 5 Clubs should be live from Switzerland. That looks like the most divine place in the world to play golf, look at mountains, be in Switzerland. But nonetheless, next Monday, which is going to be 2 o'clock London time, which is going to be 9 a.m. Eastern time in the United States, he will announce his captain selections. But so much has been made of Keegan because of Keegan, and also because we think we're going to have some real change on the American side from Rome, where it looks like it might be status quo, substituting one Højgaard from the other. But I'll talk to Rich about a couple of European wrinkles when he joins us at the bottom of the hour. But you've heard me say this for months, and I've really said it for years because it's being proved out with every passing Ryder Cup. The United States appears that they're going to have several rookies again this year. It has never given me any misgivings. One, because I find it interesting to see who's going to respond well to the environment of being in a Ryder Cup for the first time, because it is a very, very disorienting experience. because you walk on the first tee and you're going, okay, did I just walk into the octagon? Because this is not what I'm used to. Golf rounds at the highest level, you kind of work your way into the intensity of what it's going to be, particularly on the first day. You don't feel that. You kind of meander along. You manage your energy. And all of a sudden, it might build to the crescendo because the environment is different from what you get week to week. That's not what the Ryder Cup is. And so rookies, by their very nature, are interesting. How are they going to be baptized? When are they going to go out? Are they going to go out in the morning? Are you going to wait? You're going to send them out in the afternoon? Or are you somebody who back in 1999, when Mark James held back 3 rookies until Sunday singles, and it was like John Van de Velde, in Jarmo Sandelin and Andrew Coulthard, they were not ready for that. They had no experience until Sunday, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, this is too much for me. But rookies overall, as we're getting ready to show you right now, have fared darn well over the last quarter century. The European side, you can say, well, that's a losing record. If you take the halved matches, which are 26, just split them in half and put 13 and add that to 56, that's more winning points than losing points. But look at the United States, and I have a theory as to why this is. The United States, in terms of what rookies have done, starting in 1999, 73, 59, and 31. And just over the last 3 Ryder Cups, American rookies, 27, 15, and 5. That is fantastic. And just go back to Whistling Straits alone. They were 14, 14, and 1. Now, you had the likes of Scheffler, who hadn't even won yet on the PGA Tour, and he beat John Rahm in singles, and you had Xander Schauffele, and there were some guys who were true studs, and it was their baptism into the event. So the idea of rookies being in this competition should not unnerve anybody, particularly if you're the Americans. And my theory as to why the United States has had a lot of rookies who have played well over the last quarter century, for the most part, Europe has been much better in this competition during that particular time. In 1999, they had the United States on the ropes until that epic comeback culminated by what Justin Leonard did on that 17th green at Brookline. And one of the reasons why I think that is, no scar tissue. Because if you look at guys who have a long history on the United States side, up until very recently, a lot of those guys, and I'm talking about guys like Davis Love III and Jim Furyk, you look, and Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, the 2 best players around the world over the last 25 years or more, losing records. Losing begets losing. And I think the dynamic of Phil was a challenging thing for the American teams and specifically for those captains. But a lot of Americans, not weighed down by past losing, have shown up at this competition, road or at home, and said, I can handle this. And they have. And I'll just give you just some names, just going down the list. Jordan Spieth on the road in 2014. We all remember that at Glen Eagles. Now, he had played in the President's Cup the year before, 2-1-1, and obviously he was tethered to a guy immediately, primarily because of that and because he was wearing people out at Glen Eagles. Patrick Reed, 3-0-1 as a rookie on the road. And I can keep going. Brooks Koepka at home at Hazeltine, 3-1-0. Justin Thomas on the road in Paris, 4-1. There are a lot of guys, particularly Americans, who have done more than just okay. They've excelled in the environment. Tony Finau played exceptionally well in Paris as well with a winning record. Scheffler, excellent in his debut at Whistling Straits. Xander Schauffele, same thing. Very, very good. So with that, let me show you what I think is going to happen tomorrow. And when I say think is going to happen, it's more what I not only expect to happen, but I think kind of should happen. So I'm marrying up kind of who I think should be on the team and then also who I think will be on the team. But I have some reservation about one. But let me get first to who I think are lead pipe mortal locks to be chosen tomorrow by Keegan Bradley. Justin Thomas, I think once he got off to the start that he had back in the spring, culminated by winning that Heritage in a playoff over Andrew Novak, he was on the team. I think Cameron Young, if you look at data golf rankings in terms of what he's done over the last 3 months, he's been fantastic. He's actually been fourth of all players, not just Americans and not just Europeans. I'm talking about global golf. Fourth in data golf rankings. That's basically taking all the most important strokes gained data and putting it up against everybody. He's been the fourth best player in the world for not 3 weeks, for 3 months. He's going to be on the team. Sam Burns is statistically the best player in the world, and based on what he's done over the last, you go back to the U.S. Open when he was right there, and then it kind of came unglued for him, starting on what was the 15th hole there, with him trying to get some relief and not being afforded it. And then, obviously he didn't win the U.S. Open, but he was right there, and he's played well in the playoffs. He's going to be chosen. And also his kinship and the potential partnership with Scottie Scheffler. And there you get to Patrick Cantlay. And Patrick Cantlay, similarly, has been 14th in the data golf rankings and has been over the course of the year. And what he has done in the playoffs specifically, and even more importantly, Patrick Cantlay is really comfortable in a confrontational environment. He's a different kind of cat. He's fine with it. Not only is he fine with it, when he was in that just cauldron on a Saturday afternoon getting catcalled left, right, and center by all of these European fans, what did he do? He made the last putt on the last hole after making a bunch of putts before that to put a bow on that point, which turned into a dust-up in the parking lot around courtesy cars and silk shirts with Rory McIlroy looking to get a go with Joe LaCava. Those 4 guys are going to be on the team. Now we get to who I think will round out the team, if you want to say it. I think these guys should be, and when I say will be, Ben Griffin, I think, is the guy really in kind of the most precarious place. But again, I get back to what he's done this year, and I also think, as a rookie, Ben Griffin is inclined to respond well to this environment. We won't know unless he gets the opportunity. And then finally we get to Keegan. And I think anybody who says, and I've gotten a lot of text messages or Instagram messages and Twitter X messages from people, and they're doing it in very civilized tones. I think even though that form is tone deaf and toneless, saying the captain thing, it's overrated. And and anybody out there who watches this show regularly knows I'm not a I'm right, you're wrong guy. But anybody who thinks the captaincy is nothing, you're wrong. And that's just not me as an observer of this competition, going back to when I went to it for the first time in 1991 at Kiowa. It's me listening intently to people who've held the job. It's not nothing. It is a just hair on fire, very little sleep, doing all you can to shoulder all of the responsibilities of taking whatever it is that the media is trying to get from you to shield your team so that they can focus on one thing, trying to hit shots out of the center of the face. So the idea that Keegan Bradley is going to try to do both things, and I have a lot of people saying to me, it's nothing. He just goes and he plays golf. You're wrong. That's not the truth. It's just not. Whether it's Paul McGinley, whether it's yesterday Robert Carlson, who's been a vice captain, whether it's anybody who's held that responsibility, they know that it is a ton to take on. And Keegan Bradley has invested so much intellectually and psychologically and emotionally to being the captain that even if he does play and does recuse himself as best he can of all of the responsibilities and bestow it upon his staff, it doesn't mean that he is going to be able to just expertly compartmentalize while he's playing a match, not listening to other things, and feeling the pull of his team. Because even if he does, like I say, delegate, it is still, for all intents and purposes, his team. So that's why I say, yes, there are very few captains, if it wasn't him, who would be captain in the United States, would pass him over. But what was not true 6 weeks ago, which was there would appear to be not that many viable options to not be him and be somebody else, has presented itself in the form of Sam Burns and Cam Young, and even to a lesser extent, Chris Gotterup. That's what makes tomorrow as if this competition needed it. My gosh. Now, let's finally get to the guys on the outside, because one of the guys who I think should absolutely be on the outside appears likely is going to be on the inside, and that's Collin Morikawa. And none of this stuff is personal. It's just evaluating these potential participants. And I don't get it. I do not get why pundit after pundit, analyst after analyst keeps coming on the air saying, and I get it because I think it's likely that he's going to be picked, but I don't get why it's likely. He has won top 10 since March. One. And he has been going through caddies like most people go through drive-thrus. I don't understand it. I think Maverick McNeely, to his great credit, same with Andrew Novak and Chris Gotterup, they're in a place that they haven't been formally in the Ryder Cup conversation. And I don't think those guys are going to be selected, and I don't think Brian Harman, who I thought because of kind of what was a very challenging environment, you know, the results in these individual records from Paris, it doesn't mean they don't matter, but I can also kind of evaluate it for what it is. It wasn't just on him. All those guys are viable. The Morikawa one, to me, is the one that I just don't completely understand. And if you want to keep saying he has experience, okay. He has experience winning. He also has experience in losing. And he was 1-3 in Paris himself, and he's 140th in putting. It's been, by his standards, a lost year, but yet most people have him on the team. All right, we're going to take a break. Rich Lerner, much deeper conversation with him coming up at the bottom of the hour. But when we come back, a place that I find to be inspiring and special, and if you don't know much about it, you're going to find out more on the other side about Congaree Golf Club and how they are impacting the lives of kids, not just from Jasper County, South Carolina, but kids around the world, which is one of the things that golf provides the ability for people with means to give those who don't have much, if any at all, something, a chance, light at the end of the tunnel. Looking forward to you seeing that. When we continue, it's a Tuesday edition. I kind of look a little bit like Chris Sims on Buttoned Up, the kid from Ramapo High School in northern New Jersey. All right, we continue here. It is 5 Clubs Golf Channel. Of course, Channel 92, that is PGA Tour Radio, Sirius XM. We're back on this Tuesday right after this. It is a Tuesday edition here of 5 Clubs on Golf Channel, also PGA Tour Radio, that is Channel 92, Sirius XM, and this segment brought to you by Peter Millar. A little touch in the air of fall. I know college football this weekend, the collegiate line. If you need gear to be on campus, whatever your school, whatever your conference, go to petermillar.com. Game day, and it's not just that, it's the NFL, it's Major League Baseball, but it is college football season. If you need your college swag, that's why Millar has you covered, whatever your needs may be. Rich Lerner going to join us here in about 15 minutes. But I will tell you that one of the things that we have always tried to do here at 5 Clubs is shine light on things other than just the best players in the world, which, again, it's the driving force of conversation on television, because that's what pro golf is. It's a TV show. But what we try to do, and we've done it at the website at 5clubsgolf.com, is have our own spotlight on people and initiatives and organizations and individuals who are doing positive things by using golf as a vehicle for change and impact, and particularly for impact for younger people. Because younger people, they need advocacy, and I believe that advocacy is life fuel. There is no place that I have seen over the last 5 to 7 years that is taking that upon themselves more so than Congaree Golf Club. They've had a couple of PGA Tour events. They most recently had the Arnold Palmer Cup back at the beginning of June. But what they've done from the outset, when the late Bob McNair and Dan Friedkin, who have been the two driving forces, and in obviously Bob McNair's passing, it's been primarily on Dan's shoulders, but also the great staff there at Congaree, because it's not just a golf staff, it's an educational staff, because they provide after-school educational opportunities for kids right there in Ridgeland, South Carolina, in Jasper County, a destitute county. But they are giving opportunities, and they also do it through the Global Golf Initiative. So one of the things we want to do when we can is shine the light on people and places making a difference. And there is no place more so than Congaree that is giving light and providing the potential for a much brighter future than any of these young people could have ever imagined. Congaree Golf Club stands out not just for its elite-level golf experience, but for its unique and purposeful mission that blends excellence in sport with meaningful social impact. Nestled in the serene low country of South Carolina, this 18th century estate turned modern golf haven is the vision of philanthropist Dan Friedkin and the late Bob McNair. Designed by renowned architect Tom Fazio, the course is praised for its seamless integration into the natural landscape and has quickly earned a spot among the top golf courses in the United States. But what truly sets Congaree apart is its heart, a bold philanthropic mission that uses golf as a vehicle for change.
You have no idea how many people come to me who are Congaree ambassadors and tell me they are so proud of what Mr. Friedkin created, so proud to be part of it, to be able to give money to the foundation which has made the lives of other people better. This is one game that we knew that we could draw upon the goodness of people to help support the mission. Golf's all about great people.
Through initiatives like the Congaree Foundation and the Congaree Global Golf Initiative, the club provides underserved young people with access to educational, vocational, and athletic opportunities that might not otherwise be available. And it all started with the belief and vision of what this piece of land in the South Carolina Lowcountry could represent. About 7 years ago, you and I sat on a golf cart not far from where we're sitting now, a different piece of land. And you said something to me, and you said it with such conviction, I had to believe it. You said, I think that Congaree is going to be one of the most important golf clubs that's ever been created. I know you feel exactly the same way now, don't you?
I do. I think that maybe sounds a wee bit braggadocious looking back on it, but Dan...
It was belief. You had belief.
Well, I had belief in Dan Friedkin. I'll always have belief in Dan Friedkin, and Bob McNair was alive then too. And they basically set their stall out that this philanthropic club would help as many people as we could help. And where we are today, Sergeant Jasper is just a shining example of their drive to do that.
Founded in the late 1960s, Sergeant Jasper is a beloved local course that hosted some of golf's biggest names. The 9-hole course is the only one open to the public in South Carolina's poorest county, Jasper County. The Sarge, as it's called, sits just 20 minutes away from Congaree. But by 2020, the course was faced with the prospects of closing its doors.
Sergeant Jasper was going into receivership. We found out about it, and we came and looked at it, and yes, it needed a lot of work. But to me, and to John McNeely, and more importantly to Dan Friedkin, it was the hub of the golf community locally, and if it had gone away and been whatever else, a trailer park, then the kids wouldn't have had anywhere to play, the locals wouldn't have anywhere to play, so we felt obligated, it was our duty to step in here and save it.
Acquired by the Congaree Foundation in 2021, Sergeant Jasper has new life and is dedicated to expanding access to the game, including offering golf free of charge to youth under the age of 17. For Korn Ferry Tour professional Bryson Nimmer, the revitalization of Sergeant Jasper holds a special meaning. You grew up right here. To come back here and to see that this place has been resuscitated, that it has life, and primarily through the efforts of the Congaree Foundation, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to your family to see what's going on around here?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, my dad learned to play golf out here. This is the first place I ever swung a golf club, so for me, it's just so special. My grandfather was kind of one of the founders originally out here, and just to be able to come back and see what it's at now is incredible, and what Congaree's done for it and the vision and direction that they have is just awesome, and I think it's really good for the community.
Advocacy is life fuel, and for students like Rachel McKinley and Jeremiah Austin, the Congaree Global Golf Initiative is making all the difference.
This game, it takes a village. You're not gonna get through this alone. You're gonna need somebody at some point. I love that they're trying to share the game.
As part of a new partnership between the Arnold and Winnie Palmer Foundation and Congaree, these two will receive scholarships to attend college and play golf.
I think it's important to share the game. That's what I've learned a lot from this Congaree Foundation. They're really trying to grow the game amongst students who may not have the financials behind them.
Dedicated to making golf accessible to all and eliminating barriers, Congaree and its ambassadors pride themselves on giving back through a game that has given so much.
I just think, you know, it's a great game that we have, and it's a great platform, and Congaree's doing everything that you could ever hope for with that. And just, you know, the players and kids that'll get the opportunity to play golf now that may have never had it. And that's just so special, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what this can turn into.
Golf has given you a ton. What is the thing that is of most value that the game has given you?
Oh, being part of Congaree.
It's that simple.
Oh. Yeah.
Play special people, and again, boosting young people up to give them a platform and the belief that, you know what the road ahead is going to be a lot brighter than I thought before Congaree, and now the Arnold and Winnie Palmer Foundation came into my life. All right, we continue here. Rich Lerner is going to join me fresh off of the Tour Championship and what it all means and the decisions that Keegan Bradley is going to make tomorrow. Again, 11 o'clock Eastern time. You will see those announcements from PGA Frisco right here on Golf Channel. You will also hear it on PGA Tour Radio. That's Channel 92. Rich Lerner with me next. Back in. Great to have you with us on this Tuesday here on 5 Clubs. And this segment is brought to you by the Pinehurst Resort. They are the cradle of American golf. The new clubhouse and restaurant at number 10 is available to you. So if you're booking a trip, you know you have even more to do on and off the golf course. When the guy who's joining me now goes to Pinehurst, you'll probably see him more likely at the Tufts Library in the Village than at the Pinecrest Inn reading a book about the Tufts family. That's what he does. He is ensconced in readings behind him. He's read all those books behind him. I'm speaking of Rich Lerner, fresh back. I know we interviewed Charles Oakley. He was hoping Tree Rollins came by the set. Good morning, my friend.
Foul on Tree Rollins, and I don't believe it.
Okay, this conversation could go on into the next programming at the top of the hour. I've gotten the feeling, Rich, that you've had to lean in to Keegan doing this for a while now. And look, he needed to show performance. It couldn't be just sentimental. It had to be real. The data's there. It supports it. He's had some guys in the last 5-6 weeks who've given him some cushion to maybe do the pass on himself. But you think this would be a good thing. How can it be a good thing?
I think, first of all, I want it to happen selfishly.
Yes.
Don't you want this to happen? Wouldn't this
Yes.
be just a great story? It could, I concede, Gary, it could turn into a disaster. It threatens to swallow the entire United States narrative. And if it goes wrong, there will be nothing else that we or that the fans will want to talk about but Keegan Bradley designated himself as a captain. So selfishly, as a reporter, somebody who loves a good story, a big story, I want this to happen. First time since Arnold Palmer in 1963. It would juice up a week that doesn't need a whole lot of juice, does it? But it would add an extra bit of fire to that week. I think if Keegan were not the captain, I think this is a no-brainer. He's on this team. He's one of the 12 best players. He is sort of an agitator. He doesn't have the record of an Ian Poulter, but he has that kind of personality, the American Ian Poulter. He charges up the crowd. Long list of reasons. Went to St. John's. He understands the landscape of New York. He's an in-your-face guy. He screams Ryder Cup. Those are, the reasons. And, he's an excellent ball striker. He has a knack for the big moment, going back to his win, his very first major at the PGA Championship in 2011. You think about what he did at the Travelers. I think, while Keegan is not known as a great putter, he putts well, I think, in moments. You can't have 8 wins on your resume and not have made some big putts in your life. I think he would be an asset as a player. Can they make this work? I would guess they have a strategy in place. There's several ways they could do this. I've heard this possibility that Keegan gives up the captaincy, and maybe there's a backroom deal with the PGA of America where they agree to make him the captain down the road, 2027, or back in the United States in 2029. I don't see that happening. But if he stays captain and he picks himself, I do think he has enough in the back room. Furyk, while he did not have a successful captaincy at the Ryder Cup in 2018 in Paris, bit of a disaster. Furyk did win the President's Cup. He's experienced. I think he knows his way around. And then I think you have some smart guys like Kevin Kisner and Brandt Snedeker and a couple of others. I think they could make this happen. Keegan goes and plays. He focuses on his match. Got enough smart guys behind him to handle whatever might come up. I think what would be most important, Gary, if he picks himself, is they have to control the media narrative. They cannot be on the defensive. If you're going to do this, then you have to do it with a smile. You have to say to the world, to the press, I understand the risks involved. This is on me if it doesn't go well, but I am confident we can make this happen. Don't let the British press dig in. Don't let them put you on your heels, and they're going to try from the jump on that Monday. So it can't just be a strategy in terms of how it's going to play out in terms of the lineup. It has to be a holistic strategy, and media has to be near the top of the list.
Rich, let me go back to and all those points, and like you, look, I have misgivings about this because you sit with the guy on a regular basis in Paul McGinley that understands how much this responsibility is, and there's not a captain I've spoken to, and I know it's true of you too, that said you can't do both. It's just too much. Selfishly, do I want to see it? Heck yeah. First time in our lifetime, Arnold Palmer was essentially a crossing guard in 1963. The captain a couple weeks before the competition. You know that. I do, like you, want to see it. Let's say he takes the pass. Don't you think that there is enough of viable options now that maybe post-Travelers you're going, oh, this is a lock. He's ninth. He just won. He's doing something we never thought he could. And up jumps even Chris Gotterup, for that matter, who's going to get passed over. But Cam Young, Sam Burns, don't you think there's enough that he may take the pass?
There's enough talent, Gary, no doubt. But is there enough fire? Is there enough personality?
Yeah.
Is there enough fist pumping? Let's just look at this lineup. And I would call these guys, flat is a bit negative because I think internally they burn, but at least outwardly I would say they're just even keeled. And in a Ryder Cup, I think you like that kind of extra burst of energy. J.J. Spawn, Xander, Russell Henley, Harris English, Cam Young if he makes the team, Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns. They're all
level
like this. Don't you want a little bit of this? Now, the issue with that, Gary, is, you're the captain. if you're the guy, with primal screams and fists in the air, ready to go, it seems ever so slightly to sort of cross over a line where a captain is expected to be, maintaining some sense of decorum. But you're now not just the captain, are you? You're a player and a captain. Just something else to think about.
No, but most certainly. What does your gut tell you about what you expect to hear tomorrow? Give me the 6 that you think we're going to hear.
Okay. I think obviously JT is a lock.
Yep.
I think Ben Griffin, though he's a rookie, is a lock. That would be 3 U.S. rookies. JJ Spawn, a rookie. Russell Henley, though he played the President's Cup, has never played the Ryder Cup. That's 3 rookies, which gives me pause on Maverick McNeely as much as I like him. Brandel made a case for McNeely Sunday on our show. McNeely's a very good putter. I think solid through the bag, a smart guy with an excellent attitude. And by the way, a big believer in attitude. I think that is one aspect that Keegan has going for him personally. Keegan has a really good attitude. All right, so it's JT, Ben Griffin. I think Cantlay's going to make it based on his performance in Rome. He stood up when, I don't like what happened with the hat, but in all, he gave a phenomenal performance. He was tough as nails, 5-2-1 overall in the Ryder Cup. And though he doesn't have a top 3 this year, statistically, he's still very solid. So that's Cantlay. I will say Burns. I don't think he is a lock, but I will say Burns because he is number 1 in putting. Putting wins you Ryder Cups. So now we're down to Keegan. And then one more. Is it Colin Morikawa? I don't think Morikawa is the lock that some may think.
He shouldn't be in my mind.
It would be a controversial move to leave him off the team. He is an elite iron player. I mean, alternate shot, he'd be phenomenal. He's 3rd strokes gained approach. He's having a very poor year putting, though. He's 141. He's not reliable. Overall, he's 26th in data golf. And after the runner-up finish at Bay Hill, and everything that came with it, where he ducked the media, and that became a real controversy, his best finish is a tie for 8th at the Rocket.
Think about that, Rich. 1 top 10 and 14 starts.
So I would say this. I think there'll be one sort of shock beyond picking himself. And I think it's going to be Cam Young is on the team and Colin Morikawa's off. So the 6 would be JT, Ben Griffin, Keegan, Burns, Cantlay, and Cameron Young. Okay. Young's been hot. Young's dramatically improved his putting from like 145 to I think he's 7th now in putting. Drives it very well, and he's playing well, and he's a great fit for the golf course. If you put any credence in it, he did win a New York State Open at Bethpage Black. That would be my team. That would be a bold deletion to not take Colin Morikawa, but that's just a gut. He very well could be on that team. And so no McNeely, and I like Mav, and no Colin Morikawa. And I do think actually there's a case, I don't know how strong, for Chris Gotterup. He drives the eyes out of him. He's long. He's 8th in distance, 6 strokes gained off the tee. He's played, as you know, he's played really well since the U.S. Open. Yeah,
he has. One thing, and I pointed this out at the beginning of the show, I have no misgivings about rookies at all, particularly on the American side. Going back to '99, the United States rookies, 73, 59, and 31. That's extraordinarily good. And Rich, in the last 3 Ryder Cups, 27, 15, and 5, and that includes in 2021 with some studs getting baptized in the competition, 14, 4, and 3. Good numbers. American rookies have been excellent for the last 25 years in this competition, home or on the road. So go with a 4th rookie, go with Matt McNeely, but then who comes off that team? Is it Keegan Bradley? Is it Sam Burns coming off that team? I don't know. Yeah, but they're up against Gary. That team they're going in against is a formidable group.
I mean, they have a ton of stars. Rory, Tommy, Justin Rose, Tyrrell Hatton, John Rahm, Bob McIntyre, Ludwig Oberg, Shane Lowry, Victor Hovland's like 8 or 9 now in that lineup. That's deep. Sepp Straka, I have some concerns about Sepp right now. Fitzpatrick's playing well, and Rasmus Højgaard. That is just about the same team with a swap of the Højgaard brothers that demolished the United States in Rome. I get winning on the road is difficult, and it hasn't been done since Medina in 2012. But that's a strong group with a great captain in Luke Donald.
It is, Rich. I think that part of what you just said makes the narrative almost perfect. That the team that took the United States out to the shed for an afternoon disciplining is coming back in full with Rory laying down the marker that day, because you guys were there doing live from when he said, we're going to Bethpage and we're going to win. And it's that crew with the same captain. And Keegan potentially is a playing captain. Let me ask you one last thing about Europe. If there would be any last 11th hour, is it Alex Noren, who actually, in terms of data golf, going back to that accrued metrics that they've got, he's been better than a quartet of guys who are going to be on that team. Anybody potentially. Let's say he wins a game in Switzerland this week.
Maybe. Where's Harry Hall in data golf right now? Higher than you think.
Yes, his stats are excellent.
Yeah, and Hall's a great putter. He's been playing primarily on the PGA Tour, and he's been playing really well. So there's a wild card right there. The guy, I don't think he's quite ready, but I think you're going to see him in the future. Is Marco Penge?
Yes.
Have you seen some of the tee shots this guy's been hitting? And
he's a stud.
He absolutely just sends it. But I think it's going to be Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just asking. All right, we're gonna let you go. You'll read a dozen of those books behind you today. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. for that special. As always, my friend, value the time. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, G-Dub.
All right, there is Rich Lerner. We take our final break. Come back. Final thoughts on this Tuesday right after this. Final couple of minutes here on this Tuesday edition of 5 Clubs here on Golf Channel, and of course PGA Tour Radio's Channel 92 on Sirius XM. This segment brought to you by Golf Pride. It's so great to be aligned with the best grip company in the world, trusted by more players at every level. And again, whatever it is that you need, the new Align Max, those are the grips that I've got on my clubs. And of course, the reverse taper putter grip series is tremendous as well. You know, I was just looking, you know, I really believe that the rookie thing, and again, it's part of it is selfish because I'm always interested to see whether it's Rory in 2010. You know, you talk about guys, and Rich Lerner was just talking about how the persona and kind of the outward makeup and demeanor of a lot of players is very level as it pertains to the United States team, and that's irrefutable. But we've seen guys get in this environment and then they become something very different from who they've always been. I mean, just David Duval in 1999, who is as icy as it gets. Shirt tail hanging out, dusted somebody off in Sunday singles, and he's like churning butter. Tom Lehman is trying to catch up to him. He couldn't because he was completely outside of who he is. And the aforementioned Sam Burns, as Rich pointed out, very level guy. You remember what he did back in Rome? Somebody was catcalling him, and he made a putt, and he's going toward the crowd like he wants to go, you know, Malice at the Palace, and he's saying, "I can't bleep and hear you." That's Sam Burns. This environment does things to players that you're going, I had never seen that from him before. But again, just a couple other just rookies. I was looking at this stuff yesterday. I mentioned Jordan Spieth, Patrick Reed, Thomas Peters. on the road in a blowout loss was 4-1 in 2016. Brooks Koepka was 3-1 at Hazeltine in 2016. Fleetwood and Francesco Molinari, he was 4-1 in 2018. Justin Thomas on the road, 4-1. Morikawa and Cantlay together went 6-0-2. Schauffele was 3-1. Scheffler was 2-0-1. Rookies, it's okay. Don't think it's a bad thing. All right, tomorrow, Gabby Herzig's going to be with us. Obviously, she wrote a great piece, which I highly recommend, at The Athletic, by way of the New York Times, about Tommy Fleetwood's win at Eastlake at the Tour Championship. We'll get her thoughts on not only that piece, but also her viewpoint on what Keegan Bradley chooses to do. And of course, you've got Luke Donald on Monday after the Omega Masters on the DP World Tour, making his picks as well. And speaking of picks, our final reveal of the standings, who won, who finished last as well. We'll probably spend more time on the guy who finished last. No, we won't. We will celebrate the person who was the most effective at selecting players throughout the course of the PGA Tour season. Club 5, it's over, man. Feels like it's been over. You know where that jacket's going. And of course, our favorite segment of the week tomorrow, Dogs of the Week. That's what we have for you on a Wednesday. Have a wonderful Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 Eastern right here on 5 Clubs.